Laura Anthony, founding partner of Legal and Compliance, a full-service corporate securities and business transactions law firm. Today is a special LawCast segment featuring Seth Farbman. Mr. Farbman is chairman of VStock Transfer, one of the nation's leading stock transfer agencies. VStock Transfer services hundreds of publicly traded companies. In addition to traditional transfer agent services, VStock provides SEC EDGAR and financial print services related to IPOs, proxy statements, annual reports, notices and services for shareholder meetings, and all aspects of compliance filings. Seth joins us today to dispel the myths and misconceptions of being a publicly traded company.
Laura, thank you very much for having me. My name is Seth Farbman. I'm the founder of VStock Transfer, and it's a pleasure to be here and try to provide some information to your audience. In some prior episodes of LawCast that I had the opportunity to speak on, we spoke about the role of the transfer agent, really with a focus towards private companies and pre-IPO. Today, however, I want to really address those of you that are involved already in the public markets. Specifically, I want to talk about some of the what I call myths and misconceptions that are out there. It sort of sounds like a Harry Potter title of a movie, Myths and Misconceptions. Number one, I want to talk for a second about DWAX and DTC. For those of you that are newly listed on the OTC or NASDAQ, once you're DTC and DWAC eligible, that's the ability for the transfer agent to issue shares electronically directly into a shareholder's brokerage account. And very often as a transfer agent, we get calls from shareholders that are a bit frustrated. And they said, well, I thought I instructed you to DWAC the shares into my brokerage account, whether it's at Schwab or TD. And what I want to try to convey to those of you out there that are experiencing challenges with the DWAC system is that it has to be initiated at the broker level. In other words, so if you want those shares to be zapped into your account, then you need to first speak to the brokerage firm, have them what's called post it on the system or request it. And then once we see that request on the DWAC platform, that enables us to complete the transaction and send it directly to your account. So please keep in mind, brokerage firms are the first stop to get that transaction completed. The second myth and misconception that I wanted to talk to you about that we hear most often from shareholders is when they lose their stock certificate. And very often the attitude is, well, just replace it. Sometimes we've even had scenarios where people shredded it. It's been ruined. And what I need to convey is that the rules and regulations require, besides a lost shareholder affidavit, that the shareholder get a bond. And it's usually 2% of the value of the stock. For foreigners, it's 4%. And that is required for your protection, for transfer agent protection, for the issuer's protection. And it's funny, very often people will say 2% of the value, the stock really wasn't worth anything. And so my partner always jokes around and he says, well, if the stock is really worth nothing, we'll take a couple million shares for ourselves. Thank you very much. They don't usually appreciate it, his sense of humor, when it comes to that question. But you do have to find 2% of the value of the stock. And I wanted to make clear that that is paid usually to the insurance company, such as Travelers, not necessarily to the transfer agent. And it's a necessary evil, but it's for everybody's protection. And the final misconception and myth that I wanted to clarify is something called the Medallion signature guarantee. The myth is that it's the same thing as a notary stamp, but that is not the case. A Medallion guarantee is basically having that whoever the guarantor is assume the financial liability if there's fraud in that transaction. Again, it's something that's mandated through the UCC and in general the Securities Transfer Association. And I wanted to try to give you some helpful hints in terms of getting a medallion. Number one is you in theory could go to your bank or most banks. There are a few that have stopped doing it. The best way that I can suggest for you to find where you can get that medallion is there's a website, msglookup.com, and you can punch in your zip code and it will tell you the nearest locations. However, for those of you that can't, there's also an online platform that we're associated with called eSignatureGuarantee.com. It's about $150, and it's funny because sometimes shareholders will call up and they'll say, oh, that's so expensive, I could get it from my bank for free. and we would say, well, why doesn't your bank do it for free? And they say, well, they don't do it. Well, in that scenario, it's not really free. And so I'm hopeful that this information that we've covered today about DTC and DWAC, about law certificates, and about a medallion guarantee are things that will empower you, whether you're a CEO, the CFO, or a shareholder, to help you get better results to complete the transactions that you're looking to do. So thank you very much, and Laura, as always, thank you.
Thank you, Seth, for joining us today. I'm securities attorney Laura Anthony, founding partner of Legal and Compliance and producer of LawCast. Should you have any questions about today's topic, please visit Securities Law Blog and lawcast.com or contact me directly. Inquiries of a technical nature are always encouraged.